Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my beginner account. We are currently on day 13. We're almost on day 14 in like about 12 minutes. I'm going to do a bit of a review of my account, but not in the same way I did last time. Last time stuff was a bit different. I want to thank you for supporting the recent videos, by the way. Do appreciate it. But anyway, going straight into this account, talk about a couple of things, because Fenris is out, and for new players, is Fenris worth pulling for? Oh, of course, there really needs to be a lot more testing for him, and to be rather honest, I just love his design. So what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to pull for him. This might seem a little bit drastic and kind of out of nowhere, but I think he's really, really good. I pulled him in like 2 pulls on my other video. If you want to check it out, be free. His artifact is pretty good as well. If you can get that, that'd be very nice. But I think he is probably going to be a fantastic Banshee one-shotter. Even with gear that wasn't insane, he one-shot Banshee for me, which was really, really good. And honestly, Banshee one-shotting is something that isn't the easiest thing to do at the start of a game. Fair to say. Right, we are not getting very lucky right now. We are 30 pulls into this. My hope is we can just get him here, and then we'll talk about the artifact. Okay, is it actually an artifact though? It is. Hey, nice. All right, you know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. I'll actually take it because it's actually a pretty decent artifact. Increases combat readiness of all allies when he does an AoE, I believe. Yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for us, honestly. No way. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Wait, that was like 40 pulls and we got both of them. Artifact and hero in the same temple. I love it. Alright guys, well there's the pulls. But anyway, right, I want to go over a couple of things in terms of content that I've been doing. I'm very glad to get Fenris there because honestly we don't know if there's a collab coming. I want to say straight away, since we had Hoochie here like past couple days, that usually means we're going to either have a limited unit or a collab unit come in, and you want to save for that. If ideal world is, you probably just want to wait it out with this. You don't wait it out before it's like about to end, and then if there's no info, or if there is info, then you have a better idea really. But right, going over my account, as you can see, I have quite a few ML5s for this new account. 13 days in, we have 4 ML5s. Of course, one of them is from the Moonlight Blessing. We also do have Spectre Tenebria somewhere, but she is part of the first Moonlight Blessing. We got Pavel, which is obviously fantastic, Abyssal Euphine, and Kairon. I find that so funny, but talking about this actual account then. So getting straight into this. I have done a lot of work and I've been really trying my best to focus on PvE. If you're a new player, my best advice is get your PvE teams done. It is very easy with the amount of units that we get given at the beginning. Like for example, Lorina, actual lifesaver. We'll go over the build in a moment, but PvE should be your priority. Once you get it done, you don't have to worry about it. I find that to be amazing. I've been doing expeditions, I've been doing Wyvern 13. Wyvern 13 is just running in the background. We've cleared 4 times, failed once. Not 100%, but it does work when it works. Furious will probably be better than Tanner God, but I don't like using Furious. If you watched my previous video, you do know that. But let's talk about the units. So first of all, we have Bloodblade Corinne. Fantastic unit for PvP. I actually use her in Asmonak as well. In Asmonak, there are better options. You ideally want someone that just AoEs often. Maybe even Free Spirit Terry probably better than this, but Bloodblade Corinne actually offers a bit of survivability. She doesn't die, and also she has a pretty strong AoE, especially when she starts going down in HP. This is kind of someone I'm also using in cleaving. I don't like to give units that I use in PvE the best gear, unless it's like Commander Lorina, because I want to be able to have fun in the game, and that's something I prioritize. But yeah, this is a build, nothing too crazy. To be quite honest, this is pretty poor for like damage. It's got good speed in a sense, but it's just not good enough. I'm hoping soon I can get a better build for her, but obviously not my priority right now. So if you're a new player, Commander Lorina is the best character in the game, and the main reason I'm making this video today is actually thanks to her. If you didn't know, I have reached chapter 5 and I've completed the boss on chapter 5. Harsetti boss is done. I know quite a few people struggled on it. I found this to be very easy with just a little bit of RNG. You can actually click continue now, as it says here, clear with no continues. You can actually, if you lose, just click continue and it will reset your team completely and you can basically play it again. I got down to like 10% HP on Harsetti and then I did it, so I wasn't far away. I used, I believe, Tamarind. Yeah, I used this team pretty much. And then you have your weakest unit at the back, just enough so they survive, but they will get switched out for this like weird pyramid looking thing. And then you basically use support unit instead of that unit. And it's pretty much as simple as that. And then you have to do enough damage before she comes again with another one of those. Hard to explain. Tristan made a great video about this, so I recommend checking that out anyway. But we did chapter 5, practically. There's a little bit left, but I'm so happy. And Commander Lorina is the best unit for it. I'm just going to say that now. She is a unit that if you haven't built her, she is remarkable value in Abyss. Abyss as well. I didn't even show us last time, but now we're on floor 99. But the Stina stage here for floor 99 is incredibly awful. I think probably one of the worst ones as well was the Tywin one. The Tywin one was actually very, very annoying because you basically have to poison. And I'll go over who you actually have to use for that, but I hated this stage. Absolutely despised it, but we got it done. Honestly, Lorina came in clutch for most of these. It also brings up Tamarind. Tamarind was fantastic, Brieg. But Commander Lorina, try and pour on some really good gear, and she will carry you in PvE. Now, Commander Pavel. Commander Pavel is a PvP unit exclusively. You can use him in Unrecorded History for, I guess, like farming, because you can use his second skill, and it does clean up a little bit. I wouldn't say specifically you should build him, or you should pick him from your Moonlight Blessing. I personally don't recommend that, but he is still, regardless, kind of a character I built because I like him a lot. You will actually notice that by my profile card I'll try and show later. But also, I mean, guys, he's just cool. All right, I'm just gonna, it's the only reason. He's just cool. Nothing too crazy. A pretty average build, to be honest. His crit damage should be way higher. Also, speed, it's not bad. It's not bad. This specific necklace is not the best, but we don't really have access to many necklaces and rings. His artifact could be upgraded or just a different one. You will notice that throughout a lot of these characters, I just use the free gear. There is some gear like this, which you actually get from World Arena. This is not permanent, but this is still a very good piece. 102 gear score. I mostly just buy stuff from the Arena shop as well. Arena shop, fantastic way of getting gear. But yeah, Commander Pavel, pretty decent. But obviously not for PvE, which I do recommend focus on PvE, but I'll show you why I've got him built and my PvP team in a moment. So, Sigrid. I mean, she's the Wyvern clearer. If you don't have a build, I do recommend building her. Not on a great build, but to be honest, I don't really need it to be anything crazy. Once we start getting into one-shot territory, which is very far away, I will pour on better gear, but right now, I don't really find the need to build her too heavily. Brieg. Brieg is incredible. I'm just going to say this now. Brieg is one of the best units in the game, without a doubt, for PvE. I'm sure some of that does not surprise you, but he is fantastic. For clearing story, saved me millions and millions of times. His strip on his third skill, fantastic. Second skill as well, given the barrier, fantastic. First skill can go into his third skill sometime, perfect. And he has a defense break and speed debuff. With the defense break, if you combine now Commander Lorina, oh, it's amazing, amazing. Honestly, I just want to praise this guy so much. If you can pick him from your ticket and you don't want to do the Adventurous Path, honestly, I wouldn't blame you. He's that good that it's not even a bad idea. But I actually completed the Adventurous Path on the first one to actually get Brieg. Thankfully, they made it a bit easier now. Proof of Valor, not the one that you have to use on him. Really, you could use like Aureus, which is another damage reduction artifact for your allies. I am just using this mainly because of Wyvern. I want him to take less damage, and also it actually low-key did help in story. Just straight up, you get guild points in the Epic Dash to actually buy this stuff, so buy a copy. It's always a good artifact, regardless. If you invest in it, it'll be useful down the line. Mercedes. Now, Mercedes was not a character I built before. This is a character that I find to be very good in Expedition, in the Red Expedition. We'll go ahead and actually take a look at our Expedition teams right now. We may as well. For some of the expeditions, I've actually had pretty good luck with them. If we take a look here, so through the green one, as you can see, this is on level 2, which is just the middle difficulty. Level 3 is a little bit too much for me, but just by using 2 fire units that do AoEs, if you didn't know, the green lich, the green boss, so to speak, requires just a lot of fire AoE characters. I use Mercedes, I use Bomb Model Corner, and we've done pretty well, to be honest. 700k here, 770k here. That's about half his HP, if not more. Very, very good. I'll also show my other teams as well while I'm at it. My teams for this is a variety of teams. This is my dark team. I've labeled them a bit nicely just to make it a bit easy for myself. This team is a team you can use even into level 3. This is a very, very good team. I use Camilla. Camilla's a very, very good unit. We'll go over her build in a moment. Not the best build, gonna be honest, not the best build, but we're of course making use of the Lorina, the Tamarind, and the Brieg, the 3 core units of PvE. If you ever not sure who to build these 3 units. They're very good. Camilla's fantastic as well. On level 2, I can pretty much one-shot. One-shot, so basically I just complete in one run, which is very, very nice. Grass, like I mentioned, it's fire units. Bomb Model Corner. I also believe that Fire Lilias is pretty good for this, and I think Fire Cecilia is pretty good for this. I've seen some people use Barlan Cezanne as well for this. Basically, fire AoE. The boss basically takes lots of damage AoE, and obviously when you use fire characters then. And then we have Dark. Oh, we have Fire. Yeah, disgruntled there. Fire. So Fire is... I'm trying to remember now. I think Fire I also basically one-shot as well on level 2. Fire is a little bit more difficult because it kind of gets into my Lorina quite quickly. I think if I switched to Aureus on my Brieg, I think Lorina would actually survive, and then we could actually do it with this team. As you can see though, Fire and Dark use the exact same teams. And these are all core PvE units. So, very, very helpful. You'll see I pretty much just use these 3 for Abyss, for Story, for like everything. Please build them. Please build them. But going back to my units. So, I was talking about Mercedes, great for Green Expedition. Pretty much also used in, I believe, Labyrinth as well, on specific Labyrinth stages. This is a character that's definitely worth building as well for PvP if you really want to. She has a bit of RNG, a bit annoying on defense, and I will get into defense and arena in a moment. Next up, we have Adventure Ross. I do also want to mention this gear that you actually see on Brieg and also Adventure Ross is the free-to-play gear that we get. This is part of the events that we have for the hunts. You get them for free. You get up to 3 of these from obviously 1 on each hunt. As you can see in the adventure section, this gear is fantastic. It literally beat Chapter 5. It's went through a lot of the Abyss, and like I was told about expeditions, it gets your job done. He is on Aureus because I wanted my allies to take less damage. Since he doesn't really have a barrier, he probably needs it more. He is a character that is very, very good, definitely worth specially changing. My only complaint with him, on my side, is that he's too low in speed. I need to increase his speed. I could definitely make him better. Higher speed is probably much better for him. And he's a very good unit, without a doubt. Very, very good. Next up, we have Camilla. Camilla is a really good unit, but I have it built in such a weird way. I'm not sure if I should really have it built like a damage dealer. I believe that having it built like a damage dealer does help, but she is very good with pairing with Lorina. Sometimes you can literally just have her on her first skill only, and she will basically trigger a dual attack with the ally with the highest attack, so that would be Lorina. You get the defense break, then you have Lorina buff up her attack bar with the first skill. Insanely good, especially good for the expeditions. Actually, the main reason we use Camilla, I believe. Just a very solid unit. I love for her to get a specialty change. Just gonna say it now. I think that'd be really cool. I have her on Warhorn. It's pretty temporary, but to be honest, it's a pretty good artifact. Like, it's a pretty good artifact for her, so to speak, because, you know, increase the attack of all allies, gives a bit of combat readiness as well. Is it perfect? Probably not. There are probably better ones we can actually use, but it gets a job done. Having a damage build, a lot of this is the free gear that we get in Epic Dash, but I have crafted a lot of gear as well. As you can see, I believe some of this was from actually events, but I have crafted some gear as well. We'll go over all that in a little bit as well. I've got 18 speed sword, which is very nice. Finally, I get some speed as well, which is very good. And that is my Camilla. Next up, we have Rana. Lorina is insane for Abyss. I'm just gonna say this now. One of the best teams for Abyss, I just find like generally, if you're just doing Abyss, one of the best teams is the same three core characters I've talked about before, but with instead of Montmorency, you just throw in Lorina. And this gets the job done for a lot of stages. Apart from like specific like stages that require you maybe to cleanse debuffs, which you either have to have like Tamarind on like a specific artifact, or you might have to use like Bernard just to cleanse them. This is really good. Like the damage is great, the sustain is really really good. With Brieg as well, you have a barrier, you have obviously the strip into the defense break. Lorina also heals with her passive, I believe. Just a very very good unit. Honestly, a fantastic unit that I've been using all the time. Also clutches some story stages as well. If you're stuck on certain stages, she is mega helpful. This artifact, it could be a better one on her, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure what actual Soul Weavers need in terms of artifacts. I know some people use these on like Tamarind, for example. I actually don't have Wanderer's Potion Vial, I believe it's called, the one that cleanses debuffs. Has kind of affected me negatively, but it still works. And Lorina is a very, very good unit. Obviously, needs a bit of F-res. Gonna say that now. Most of this gear, like I mentioned before, is part of the Epic Dash. We also have some of this gear here, which is from the Arena Shop. Making use of the Arena Shop gear. If you find gear that is like this, I mean, like, this is not going to be on her for long. This is probably going to be on like a bruiser, you know, someone that needs a bit of speed, a bit of damage. Maybe I post like a Ravi, but then again, I have to see what I think about that in the long run. And we also have the ring. Ring is pretty good as well, to be fair. Pretty nice, got a bit of effectiveness. Not perfect, but of course, definitely not going to complain. A lot of the free gear and the gear you get in the shop is obviously very, very good. Lorina, fantastic unit. Tamarind, you knew it'd be coming there. I love her emote, first of all. I absolutely love it. Massive fan of it. She is one of the best units of PvE. I would say the best Soul Weaver in PvE alongside Lorina. Maybe Destina as well, but I'm not too sure how good Destina is because I haven't tested her. I know she's obviously good, but I haven't played on her with this account. But she is amazing. Tamarind is fantastic. Everything she does is just wonderful. Wonderful is a very interesting choice of words, but I absolutely love her. Third skill, actually very, very helpful. Can increase attack bar once she actually uses it on the second skill. After using this third skill, she can also dual attack with her first skill. She has a lot of heals as well. I've been using this. The main reason I'm using this and why I might be Powder of Knowledge, which I do regret, the main reason is because of my Blood Moon Haste, which I don't think I've even shown. But I have a Blood Moon Haste. I would not recommend Powder of Knowledge on any of these artifacts unless they're limited artifacts / collab artifacts. Collab artifacts especially, because they will never come back. These type of artifacts, you could technically speaking get 5 copies in your next 100 pulls. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Collab artifacts, you'll never get them. But as you can see, I use it on Celestine. Actually, to be honest, has kind of helped me a lot. I'm not even gonna deny it. Like, this artifact's like low-key being really good on her, just straight up. As you can see there, we are using the free event gear I mentioned before. Very solid gear. It gets the job done. To be honest, she could use more F-res, she could use more speed, she could use better stats, but this literally got me through a lot of Abyss. It got me through expeditions, it got me through story. You really don't need that much in PvE, which is a massive positive. And I'm moving on to more PvP related activities. So, I have Conqueror Lilias. I completed the Moonlight Blessing for her yesterday. Some people would probably want to pick, and you know, let's just go over the options real quick, because obviously there are a couple characters you can pick. Obviously the likes of DDR, Death Dealer Ray, Mediator Cowrick, obviously Commander Pavel, who I have, Sylvan Sage Vivian, I believe Astromancer Elena as well, I'm pretty sure, and I think also, where is she? Sylvan Sage Vivian. In terms of these characters, I couldn't really rank them in terms of who's the best, but obviously DDR, Death Dealer Ray, is probably the best unit, and some people might question why I didn't pick him. And I've got to be honest, I hate his playstyle. I think he's a very boring unit. Sure, he can win you a lot of games, and to be honest, if you play PvP and you play World Arena, first pick him and you are gonna win a lot of your matches. For me, I have no enjoyment in that. I've always wanted to play with Conqueror Lilias because she is just so cool looking. I love her third skill animation. She's a unit that is incredibly helpful for taking the first turn. She might not be the best unit anymore. She's definitely not at the peak that she used to be at, but she is still fantastic. If you look at her build, I've literally just put as much speed as possible on her. 247 speed. I've given her a lot of effectiveness as well. A lot of this is like goblin gear. Also, some of this, as you can see, is the arena shop gear. Nothing really too crazy. Some of this gear is pretty decent. In terms of the goblin gear is worth farming. I think if you're a new player, definitely worth farming. If you're your first month, farm it. But once you're past that, you probably don't really need it. It's more of like a collection type of thing, I suppose. We also have some craftables as well. This turned out not too bad, to be fair. Actually, could be pretty decent on a damage dealer. And also this one, which I kind of like the look of. I was pretty happy with this one. Just ended up upgrading it yesterday. Pretty good. But yeah, Conqueror Lilias, very good unit. We're going to go ahead and actually just go into arena here. I'm going to try and cleave with this. The main reason I'm going to do this is because I want to kind of show off what I've been working with. I don't recommend setting up cleave teams at the start of your game, but to be honest, for how long stuff takes, I really don't want to take PvP really slowly. Like, I don't want to go into this and be like, okay, 3 minutes and then we beat this once. I want to go into this and be like, okay, 20 seconds, we're done, down to do arena, and it's as simple as that. Let's go ahead and go with one that has damage. This one's a little bit of a tough one, but we're going to go ahead and try anyway. This might seem a little bit insane to do, but we're going to try anyway. My hope is we don't get outsped. As you can see, we have Mercedes in this team. Mercedes offers a little bit of RNG for us. It's a very safe team in a way. We are not going to be able to take too many turns here. It's very worrying. Okay, so what do you do again? I always forget. I definitely can't do that. Oh, she puts him to sleep. Yeah, she does, doesn't she? One solution, theoretically, if my BBK went first, my Pavel could actually do a bit, but we're going to have to probably push you back. But obviously, if sleep, though, the sleep's going to be very annoying. Do we decrease combat readiness? We do. Okay, so we're probably going to need to... Oh, this is such a tough one. What do we do? Okay, listen. I don't play much PvP. I feel like probably hitting Tenebria would make the most sense because obviously if she sleeps us, we're going to get kind of cooked. But if we reduce our attack bar, we're fine. I'm actually going to do this. Screw it. This should work a little bit fine because we could take a bit of damage. If they reduce our combat readiness, it's not the end of the world either. Also, we could maybe resist it. Come on. Okay, that's fine. All right, Mercedes hitting. Very nice. Once again, Mercedes being very helpful. We're going to take a bit of damage here, but thankfully we have the BBK and the Mercedes to kind of follow up. It's like a cleave team, but with a lot of RNG that can help us in the long run. Right, here we go. So, we're going to go ahead and hit Shuri here, because he usually does a lot of damage. Pavel, obviously a great unit. Third skill, does a lot of damage. The main reason why I like using Pavel, though, is because of this. If we just go ahead and burn, and go yeet, we should second skill here if I remember. Okay, we need to do one more time. And Pavel uses his skill. It works a lot of the time. It works a lot of the time. With a slower team, we might have struggled there a little bit. But with this, we can pretty much do it a bit of a, not the best way of handling things. I could have handled that a lot better, but regardless, that is kind of what I'm working with. I practically use the same defense team, to be honest, so there's no point showing that. But Conqueror Lilias, fantastic. Also offers the Vigor buff. Vigor increasing attack and defense by 30%, a bit of survivability, bit of attack. Fantastic unit, especially for me, who wants to get into like Guild Wars and cleaving a little bit earlier. Next up, we are back into the PvE section, and this is my Iseria. She is actually used for Asmonak, which I can actually do. We'll hop into there right now and just show you my team. I'll show a couple of my teams while I'm at it as well. And Banshee, by the way, with Fenris, which we did obviously pull today, I think it's very possible I'm going to one-shot this. Just straight up. I think it's very, very possible. You just obviously need Song of Stars. I think that's going to be kind of a necessary thing, but then again, if you get a good rage build, which we do get for events, it's obviously worth it. But anyway, as you can see, this is my Asmonak team. Like I mentioned before, we do use BBK. This team works very, very well. The main thing that a lot of people used to say back in the day is to use Aros, but I actually like to use Brieg now Brieg is probably just a better option, but that is my opinion. I think obviously the second skill on Aros, dual attacking, is very good if you have like a Vildred, because you end up getting rid of the mobs alongside the boss a little bit quicker. But this is very good. Iseria, I think she can be replaced with Falcon and Clury. Really, even Luluka on the artifact from Hall of Trials. But Iseria is one of the best units for this. She also decreases the cooldown of Tamarind, and this team works pretty well. You can actually use Free Spiritaria in here, funnily enough. I can literally just do this. Obviously, she doesn't have any gear on her right now, but with this artifact, it makes it a lot easier because when she actually hits in Dark Elemental Hero, she decreases the cooldown of her second skill, which is her AoE, so you will be hitting more often the actual mobs for the boss. Very, very good. But yeah, BBK is the way to go. She is a unit that works for me, and to be honest, even though she's not the best choice, I can have gear on her for this and also use her in PvP at the same time and not really lose out on anything. Yeah, Iseria, very good unit. You want this to have effectiveness as well, of course. 65% effectiveness is generally what most people go for PvE in like Wyvern and stuff like that, so take that into account. Now, Tanaror Guard. He is on a very, not a very good build. I'll say straight away, I should be using Furious instead of Tanaror Guard, but I'm using him because I just prefer him. I like him a lot more. I don't like how slow Furious animations are. I've said that a million times now, but to be honest, it is just the truth. His gear is literally just a free gear we get. This, I have no idea where I even got this from. This is just some free gear we get as well. This could be like much better, but to be honest, if it gets the job done, why fix it? Main thing you want to do is at least have a little bit of survivability and ideally 65% effectiveness. I do not have 65% effectiveness down here, but I do have this artifact which increases a little bit. To be honest, it could be better, but it still gets the job done. So I'm not even going to bother changing it. I'm focusing on other and better things now. And to talk about Wyvern, we also have Mui. Mui is obviously the Wyvern God, a unit that I think is the least replaceable, to be honest. I think these days with Brieg it becomes a little bit easier with debuffs, but him, he's just fantastic. Great unit. On Dust Devil as well. Definitely worth having him on Dust Devil. I think it's definitely his best artifact for beginner Wyvern. Also his gear, not the best. I'll be honest, not the best. This ring is actually something you get for free. I also got this just by crafting some random stuff. This is awful, but I put it on him anyway because he was doing such low damage, it didn't really matter. But this is obviously very helpful because you want to get his effectiveness up. He doesn't really need damage unless you will really want it to go quick. For me, I don't really care. I don't really care. But yeah, that is my Mui, and he needs 65% effectiveness, and he has it. Right, now onto the units I want to build and units I may not want to build, so to speak. Bit of a weird way to put it, but basically, with Free Spiritaria and some of these units, we'll talk about them now. So, Free Spiritaria. She is obviously the best damage dealer for clearing unrecorded history. Her second skill is fantastic. If you can one-shot a wave, and you can also one-shot a boss, you are literally clearing unrecorded history at the speed of a bullet, practically. Her gear should actually be on her. It's on Bomb Model Connor, who is down here, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to put the gear back on her. She obviously just does big damage, and I will actually keep her because she is very good for unrecorded history. Spectre Tenebria, obviously a unit that is very good. I do want a 6-star at some point. I do want to build her. She is definitely worth building for PvP. Even some PvE places, at least very early into the game, can be pretty good because she doesn't get attacked. She doesn't get targeted by like single target attacks. She is obviously very good. Will I get the exclusive equipment for her? Honestly, not too sure. If I get around to it, maybe, but I'm not too sure how good it actually is. But she is currently on the book, and she'll probably stay on it because the book is just such a good artifact. Now, Sirmia, this is a unit I want to build for obviously like KDs, and I believe Golem. I believe she's used there. Obviously Golem being the one that you actually get Sirmia through. She is a unit that's obviously very good. I have not got around to building her, and to be honest, I'm rather torn if I want to build her because I've been doing Wyvern, I've been doing Asmonak. I want to do Banshee next. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing Golem or KDs. I'll have to look at the sets once again, but obviously Wyvern is my favorite to go for because obviously the speed set is so good. With Harseti coming, it becomes a little bit more difficult, but still, I think it's still worth it to farm speed set. Maybe not as much, but that depends how good she will be. Regardless, Semia is a good unit, and I probably will build her eventually. But right now, not a priority. Not a priority. Next up, we have Vivian. Once again, a unit that is very good for like Banshee, for example. I'm going to build her for Banshee. She is 5-star awakened. I'm going to try and get away with not 6-star in her. None of her skills are leveled up. I will give her gear eventually, but I feel like she's probably going to be a little bit difficult to build, at least for me at this moment in time. But I will try and build her for the Banshee one-shot, which I will make a video on once I get around to it. Now, onto another unit I've obviously got built. This is a character I use in Green Expedition. She is one of the better options, I believe. I've seen her also be used in some Labyrinth floors, which is obviously pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and use her. But right at this moment in time, I'm probably going to move her gear to Free Spiritaria. The main reason I had it built was literally to see just how well I could do in Green Expedition. And also just to really see how good she is. She is currently in the Grace of Growth as well, which I unlocked the newer Grace of Growth. I personally wouldn't recommend doing this for most players, but for me, I like to progress as fast as possible. And if I make the most use of this, this is worth it. The main reason why this is actually really good is because you can take out a unit and then you can just put another unit straight back in. That is not something you can do with this. This character over here, I will have to take her out, and for 3 days, I won't be able to put another character in. Right side, I can literally build a character, test them, maybe use them for a specific Abyss floor, and then just take them out, which is fantastic. I definitely don't recommend it because most people probably won't make the most use of it, but just take into account as a new player, it probably isn't bad value, in my opinion. Some people might disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. We've taken her out though. I'm going to move her gear to Free Spiritaria, like I mentioned, for an on-record history, and we'll probably farm that from time to time here and there. Right, now onto the characters I've also not built, but characters I might build slash kind of have built but need gear. Ravi is a character I want to build. I picked it from my decked out selector. I have no gear for her though. Just straight up, I have no gear for her. I have exclusive equipment for her. Probably mainly a PvP unit. Maybe you can use her in PvE. I'm not too sure about that, but I will definitely build her at some point. Right now, I have other priorities in PvE. I also missed Watcher Shuri as well. Watcher Shuri, obviously a very, very good one-shot unit. This was originally intended to be like a Banshee one-shot gear, which you actually get this gear from this event. Before someone thinks I am cheating in some way. You get really good gear from this, by the way. This event is like the best event for new players, just straight up. If you don't do this, you should definitely do this. This is fantastic. But we get a lot of Rage gear. Rage gear is really good for one-shotting, which is actually perfect because now that we actually have Fenris, which we'll talk about in a bit, I can move this gear over to him and probably, most likely, we're going to be able to one-shot the Banshee, which would be really, really good. Watcher Shuri, though, obviously a very good unit. I want to build him at some point as well because really, if you try and one-shot like Asmanak or something like that, maybe, depending on really how good Fenris really will be, maybe I'll have to use Watcher Shuri instead. But yeah, definitely a good unit, and I'm building up some gear for him, and I'm just trying to give a necklace for the Rage set, and then we're going to be solid. Very good. Right, Janua. This is so funny. I got him on a random pull. He is 6-star and max skilled. Obviously a very, very good unit. And I also have another copy of him. I got him yesterday on a random elemental summon. Honestly, I was very, very shocked, and that was great though. I mean, I'm not going to complain. I can literally feed him now if I really wanted to, because we're probably not going to get ML version anytime soon, because it wasn't like crazy long ago since his last release. Obviously a very good damage dealer. I want to build him for PvP. Insanely good for like guild wars and stuff like that, so definitely worth it. Talk about insanely good characters. We have Abyssal Euphine. At the moment, I'm trying to build her. She needs more lifesteal gear. This gear is simply from Abyss. You get some lifesteal sets. Some of this stuff could probably put like a Violet or something like that, but I'm going to put on her because she obviously needs lifesteal. I just need one more piece of lifesteal, and then the rest will be like crit rate, and I'm hoping I can get her up and built maybe within like a month or so, because she is just so good that having like defense, having a maybe just in guild attack, like stuff like that, be really, really fun. Very cool unit, and obviously since I don't have a build, I'm not going to talk about too much, but still very good. Blood Moon Haste, character I've actually skilled up a bit. I wanted to build him originally, but I didn't realize this initially, but he needs a counter set, especially with Celestine, which is an artifact I talked about before, but as you can see, counter set, we don't really have that right now. I might have to honestly buy some from like Arena, but unfortunately the counter set's like incredibly expensive and it doesn't really apply for him too well. With artifact Celestine, this is kind of why I use my my book of knowledge on this. Honestly, wasn't really worth it in some way, but I don't know. Regardless, we still have the artifact for him, which is obviously very, very good. Angelic Montmorency, a unit I used to use, but there are just better options. She is obviously very, very good, don't get me wrong, but she's going to be one of those characters where I rotate gear to her when I need her, but definitely will not be using her all the time. Some people use her in Beginner Wyvern, and you can do that, but she requires a bit better stats there, and also, I just feel like I just have better options in Tamarind and Lorina at this moment in time. And I don't have enough gear to go around for all these characters, as you've noticed probably. So, next up we have Kairis, or however you want to say her name. I apologize if I said that wrong, but she is incredibly good for floor 92 of Abyss. Technically, pretty much a requirement for 92 Abyss. You can also use like Spectre Tenebria or the new Dark Thief, new Dark 3-star Thief. I think the name's like Revener. Could be completely wrong on that, but regardless, this character is part of the Grace of Growth. I have used her, but now in Abyss, once you start getting to the even later stages, they're actually immune to these type of debuffs, so they can't be poisoned, for example. So unfortunately, she has just dropped off in terms of usage now, but for specific flaws, this is very good. Kind of another reason why the Grace of Growth is a fantastic use for a character like her. I obviously am not going to use her now. If she's needed for a specific stage, maybe I'll try and build her, but right now, don't need her. Very helpful at the time, and not anymore. Next up, Aiden. I want to try and get my Savior Aiden. She is obviously a very good unit once she's at her light version. Unfortunately, the actual missions themselves actually do take quite a long time, and I wish the missions were a bit like less time consuming, because we're in chapter 3. I have to go a long way to get this done, and I think I'm going to have to beat the Zeo fight again. The Zeo boss fight's a lot easier now with the continue, but it's still incredibly annoying. But obviously this character is very, very good. You want to try and get her, but you know, it's just going to take so long. I'm honestly not excited to start farming for that, but I guess we're going to get some, it's going to be kind of like farming on Record History with like catalysts and stuff, but still. Alright, next up we have the name I'm not going to try and pronounce. First of all, love the emote, fantastic emote. Her skills are actually really good for PvE. Like, beginner PvE, she is really, really good. Defense break on first skill. Third skill, increase attack and speed of all allies. Recovers a bit of HP as well. This is something that is amazing in a lot of cases. I love this a lot. Her passive, also, what is this? Having the turn increases combat readiness of the ally, except for the caster with the highest attack by 20% and dispels one debuff from the ally. If you pair this with like a Commander Lorina, this is really, really good. Also, her special change, I believe, offers buffs to dark characters, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does. So, this is fantastic, in a way. This is a fantastic unit. I'm not too sure where I'm going to use her now, because I used her at the beginning, very helpful then, but I'm not sure like what specifically would make me think, okay, I need to build her right now. Regardless, she is 5-starred, and she is a 3-star, so actually building her was not too much of a big deal. I can just throw gear on her and we can use her when she's needed, and if we don't need her, we just take off the gear and we put on someone else. That's how I tend to think of things for characters like these, and you will notice a little pattern down here with a couple specially changed 3-stars. Most of these characters I've kind of wanted to get the specially changes out of the way. A lot of these 3-stars are obviously very good, very worth building. Some of these may be more guild oriented, but some of them are PvP and PvE oriented as well, which is obviously very good. Hazel, a character I'm probably going to plan on level 50 in. If I can try and get away with it, I'm probably going to keep her level 50 and also Mascot Hazel level 50. But obviously the Knights, you want them to have higher HP and defense, so they will probably 6-starred. Falcon and Claire is probably the only one here, which I'm not too sure about. Also, Shadow Knight, I actually don't really know what she's good for specifically. I've never used her, but she is still a pretty good unit from what I understand. But she's obviously special change, so it doesn't really take much to build anyway, so it's not really a loss for me. It's still positive. Obviously, Hazel, very good for a lot of content. Arwell, a very good knight for PvP. Honestly, very, very nice. Kirsty, not sure actually. I know she's PvP oriented, but maybe PvE oriented as well. I know some people pair her with Kayron, MLK Run, which, I mean, I have MLK Run now, so, you know, I'll take it, right? I'll take it. Also, Doris, pro well user. There's just much better healers, but maybe she'll find some use. Just do a special change. And then we have the final two units, which I want to talk about, is Acades. Acades, obviously a very good unit for very specific things in PvE. I've obviously not built it yet, but once it comes around to it, this unit should be built and ready. And then, Fenris. Fenris, my dear. I got him very early on both accounts, which makes me incredibly happy, to be honest. This guy, obviously a very good PvE one-shotter. We can probably use him in PvP as well, just because if we're going to give him really good gear, we can probably use him in PvP. Like I mentioned before, I am actually going to put Watcher Shuri's gear on him, and he should pretty much cook in Banshee. Obviously, I'm probably going to pair him with Leo, and I'll just show who Leo is in case you don't know. I'm going to pair him with Leo. Pair him with Leo and Vivian as well to go ahead and basically play Banshee. It's going to be a lot easier with him. If you haven't seen videos on him, he just does a lot of damage, and he is a fantastic unit as well. To be fair, maybe for cleave, or maybe for turn 2, I'm not too sure, but he can increase combat readiness. We also have his artifact as well now, I believe, right? We do. His artifact's really good as well. Like, I'm not gonna complain. In terms of other units, to be honest, like, we're pretty much done in terms of looking at units, mostly. Obviously, like I mentioned, I'll build MLK Run. I'll probably feed the Genua because there's no chance we're getting an ML version anytime soon. I actually have Angel of Light Angelica, obviously a very, very good unit, even to this day, very good. The Giga Chad Guide the Aether, obviously, Aether, sorry guys, I know some big fans of Aether out there. Obviously, probably the best unit in the game, right? Probably the best unit in the game. Got Champion Zerado, got a couple units here and there, a couple ML units as well. Honestly, probably not going to build a lot of these units. A lot of these are more like toys or like experimental units. Wanderer Silk might find a bit of use, especially with imprints. I might go ahead and have more speedy teams out there as well. Shuri, Tempest Siren. Do you want to plan on maybe making a one-shot team for Wyvern eventually? The one-shot team I have in mind is Arya, Corinne, which is this character, Sigra, and also Sinful Angelica. Because we actually got Sinful Angelica, so it's going to require some pretty good gear, but with the gear that we get, I actually think it's possible. So if you'd like to see a less than 1 month Wyvern one-shot, let me know. And I think I pretty much covered everyone to talk about, to be honest. In terms of like actually like guild content, I'm actually not in a guild right now. So if you have any guilds, you have any recommendations for who I should join, have a guild you want me to join, let me know down below. I think most of where my focus will be on now is getting through Expedition level 3 and trying to just be there in one go. Also, if we go to Labyrinth, I really want to try and get to basically the hardest version of Labyrinth and trying to get some of the gear, because the gear here is really, really good. From what I understand, if you actually clear one of the bosses, you have to use a completely different team. So it's kind of gear intensive, but it's still, well, it's more character intensive, but it's still such good value. I might do that. Also, just trying to go through this right now, trying to get a little bit of this gear. I wouldn't mind some ancient coins right now. I really need charms. If you look at the charms, unrecorded history is pretty good, but I just can't really tell myself to do that. Rift, talking about Rift really quickly for any new players who might not know, Rift is like a really good way of getting gear. You generally get more and better gear. When you sacrifice, I believe you sacrifice certain things. Sky Stones in Wyvern do add up, obviously. I'm probably not going to do Rift because, to be honest, the teams are probably going to change eventually, and also not using Wukong is very, very difficult. It makes life a lot more difficult. Wukong is just that much of a beast. I've not pulled him. You can't pull him right now. I hope they kind of bring him into summons, but knowing it, they're probably going to do a collab next or like a limited unit, and then they'll probably release Wukong, and I'll be like, well, that's great. You can also get him from the shop through one of the best packs. One of the packs. I believe it should still be here. Yeah. Once you reach level 60, they unlock this for you. But I'm good, you know. I'm good. I have enough pulls to save for other stuff, thank you. But yeah, hopefully that has helped you in some way or has shown you what I've been doing. If you want any advice or anything down below, let me know. Honestly, I'm just been getting through a lot of the stages. Obviously, like I mentioned, I have my goals. Probably another goal is maybe to go a bit further in Arena, try and get a better cleave team. I've mentioned who I really want to build. And yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next one. Have a wonderful day, and good luck on your Fenris pulls if you're pulling for him. Save. Though. Try and save. Don't pull for him straight away. It's tempting. I know the feeling. Anyway, adios.